In this episode, we'll be replacing the OEM Bosch CP4 pump with the S&S Diesel DCR pump conversion kit, along with Pusher's PowerFlow intake manifold with A-Rod over at PowerStroke Truck Tech.
Appreciate you for coming out so far away.
We're doing this as a preventative measure based on the community's interest and recommendation to move away from the CP4 pump that's known to fail. This is not a DIY video, but it's hardly a do-it-yourself project either. If you want a more step-by-step approach to working on your Super Duty, check out A-Rod's channel, PowerStroke Tech Talk. For this video, we're more focused on sharing what's going on with the CP4 pump, why we're replacing it, how much does the replacement kit and labor cost, and what options do Super Duty truck owners have to avoid this known fuel pump issue that, if it fails, can be extremely costly.
This fix for that would be anywhere between 10 and 15 grand.
No lie.
Yeah.
And A-Rod was kind enough to extend an offer to the KYD community that uses his shop. So stay tuned to the end for Mark's recap of the installation. Now join us at A-Rod shop just outside Detroit, Michigan.
Hey, man. I like the echo from the shop for the horn.
What's up, everybody? How are you?
What's going on, man? How are you? Good to meet you finally.
Well, I got a whole bunch of parts.
Yeah?
A heart transplant.
Nice.
Some pipes, an intake.
Okay.
And I think this is the candidate.
It's a nice open shop.
Yeah.
Nice and clean, too.
The way I like it. Right for my favorite trucks. On my 20 plus years of working on the Ford product, I would have never thought I would have loved a vehicle line so much. It's like, I don't want a Mustang, no F-150s.
Mm-hmm.
Super Duties.
Super Duties. I agree.
Are you running any fuel additive?
Okay. A-Rod just asked me if I was running a fuel additive. Okay, so the only reason I'm here is because the community suggested that I come to you. The community suggested the whole issue of the CP4 pump, which I was really unaware of. Mm-hmm. And then the community also suggested this for fuel additive.
Come here. Just got a fresh case of the stuff that I use, and I notice a considerable difference in fuel mileage.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm up, I want to say maybe 1.1, 1.2 miles a gallon.
Oh, come on.
And the distance between regens, who wants to keep regenning every 1, 2, 3, 400 miles?
Yeah,
Regen
windows
are getting wider. All right, I like that. Rotating the pipe, I want you to kind of rotate this, so this is kind of like this, because we need to get some toolios down right here to get this clamp off. I did inside here. I want you guys to kind of do something like this. Just like that. Save the gaskets, because you're going to need them. They're going to come off one way. Fans off. Hot.
There it is.
That's it right there, boys and girls. Whew. That's it.
So it's a fuel heart transplant.
This is the heart. Look like a critter has been in here.
Does it really look like critters in there?
Yeah.
Is there a nest?
There was, not anymore. Fuel line tether for these lines that are going to be in the valley.
Gotcha.
And then the supply lines to the DCR. And then the DCR itself. This is supposed to be on the left side when you're viewing the pump like this.
Gotcha.
Now, if you guys take notice, you have a center hole and an offset hole. Now Mark, what I want you to do to time this pump, it's super easy. It spins easy. I'll wipe this oil off. You want to make that offset hole directly at 6 o'clock. So when the pump gets installed like this, this is at the correct spot. But we have a spot on the engine that we have to time as well. We need to rotate the engine around so that when we put the fuel pump drive gear on, the teeth on the gear matches up with the single tooth on the cam. So these have to match.
I see.
Check out this view. Putting this thing in is probably the best thing you guys can do for your Power Stroke. DCR installed and no more CP4. Got it. It's all around. Belt installed.
Can you explain to me what you explained to me earlier about the Bosch, why the Bosch is failing and the fuel and...
So, the high pressure fuel pump, when Bosch designed these, it was designed over in Europe, and their quality standard of fuel is considerably different than that of the Americas. So, that is going to affect how the CP4 is going to function, and I think just a lot of issues arise when we start changing fuels on a product that was developed with a different tier of fuel. And when that was brought over to the United States, we have a lot more stricter requirements for fuel, for emissions, and we have no choice.
Gotcha. So some of the emissions, some of the regulations, the lubricant that's been taken out of the fuel is why the CP4, the Bosch CP4 is starting to fail?
I think coupled with that and the pump's ability to have the buckets, like the pistons, in the actual pump turn, and once that turns, then that's when you start getting all of the metal on metal, and you're pretty much all downhill from there.
And then when it goes bad, it destroys the whole fuel system. Anywhere ranging, the fix for that would be anywhere between 10 and 15 grand.
No lie.
Yeah. Okay, so then S&S Diesel Performance, they make a pump then that fits in the Super Duty.
Direct drop-in.
So it's still a high pressure fuel pump, but it fits in the Super Duty. Because the other solution would be just go to a CP3, but
as we were talking earlier, the CP3, the whole body is way too big for our valley. So S&S took the guts of an already used pump that had been in the ag world for since 2008, and made it to a body that fit our 6.7. This is probably one of the most OEM kits or packages that a aftermarket company has developed for the OEM world that looks stock.
Awesome.
Factory clips, just like it is supposed to be.
So that's what you're saying. It's the most OEM aftermarket kit.
Look, you're gonna get.
Yeah. Well,
this is
rightfully so. They made it specifically to replace the Bosch CP4 pump in a Super Duty, right?
Yep.
Is this particular S&S fuel pump kit used on any other truck? Yeah, just this.
Just this.
Awesome. Good for them. Good treat.
Look at that.
Awesome.
Dude.
All right, so the pusher was a recommendation by you.
100%.
It's not on my radar, but I trust you. So why are we doing it?
Well, hey, we got all this stuff apart. Let's show and tell. We'll talk about it. The new intake, okay?
Yeah.
This is the air going into the engine. This is the air going into the valve covers. This is the air coming into the intake manifold from the charge air cooler. All right, so if you guys look at the side, ugh, look how nasty this is. If you look at the side, the air has to come in, go down, back up and around and into the plastic intake manifold. Do you see any of that happening with the pusher intake?
You know, no direct shot.
Absolutely not. And the other thing that they did too, which I think is really beneficial. Okay, so here's the intake. We're sitting here like this. Look at where they inject their EGR. So typically we're sitting here like this. They want us to take that pipe and go like this. So instead of injecting it right as the air is coming into the intake, they put it in the stream more.
Yeah.
Way better throttle response, and you're going to hear a little more air resonation noise through the intake because you don't have these.
Gotcha.
There we go. Oh yeah, baby.
So one of the things that Pusher said is a benefit of the kit is that you can see the valley because obviously the OEM stuff is blocking it. So as a Ford technician, what is the benefit of being able to see the valley?
Leaks. Sea leaks.
Oh, really?
Critters.
Okay.
That's where they're going to want to nest.
Well, that's where they did nest.
Proof is in the pudding.
Okay.
Have to push this pipe in as far as it'll go, and that will give us clearance right here. Pull this pipe out a smidgy widgy.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then we pull the coupler
down
onto the intercooler.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
It's on.
The color's fantastic.
DCR's installed, pusher's installed. It's ready.
So what do you mean prime it?
Prime it. Just like we changed the fuel filters, we're going to turn the key off, turn the key back on, and I typically do this like 4 times.
Oh, you do?
Fuel pump's running right now. Gonna put all that fuel into the new double line set that came off the pump, filling up the fuel filter that I dumped out.
Gotcha.
And the high pressure lines aren't gonna get fuel in it until it cranks.
Gotcha.
So until we crank, we purge the air out of the pump. And I was explaining to you before off camera, when I do CP4 replacements, it'll be a crank, 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 for at least 30 seconds.
Really?
Watch how fast this DCR builds fuel rail pressure and starts the engine. It's considerably different. Foot on the brake, starting.
Oh yeah.
Big. The volume of fuel that it builds is so much more faster than the CP4. It's not even a joke.
So what do you check now that it's going? Just make sure everything's going.
I had
Don't get squirted in the face by anything?
I had fuel lines, I had to connect and tighten in the valley, making sure everything is nice and dry. Got 2 fuel lines on the driver's rail. Those are dry. A quick disconnect on the back of the rail. Looks dry. Fuel lines up here. We got the new DCR, the line going right to the fuel filters. It's coming from the pump. So this is important when you're going to be doing your maintenance. You're going to be messing with a different line. That's dry. Pusher intake, nice and tight. The one thing about the pushers, one, that they're awesome, but these pipes do not flex. They are not blowing off. These are some stout pipes. Had the fan off, fan looks good, belt looks good.
You've been DCR'd, my friend.
All right, so we talked real quick in front of the hood, but it was noisy in there, that you got 3 different levels. You can, obviously adding the additive, which adds lubricant to the fuel. That's what everybody should be doing.
All day, every tank.
Even now, you're saying even I should be doing it, even though I got the DCR pump.
100%.
Okay, and then the second tier is S&S provides a disaster kit, $500, 500 installed, so about $1,000.
Yep. It's I like to offer 2 things for the clients. If you are ones that turn around your vehicle every 2-3 years, maybe the disaster prevention kit is better suited for you. It does add another fuel filter, but it is what it says, a disaster prevention kit. The disaster is the CP4 system breaking down. So if you guys are ones that are going to be keeping your truck, get rid of that CP4 and just do yourself right, get the DCR.
So the third level is just changing out the pump altogether.
Yep. And the disaster prevention kit is not compatible with the DCR. So there's no...
It's got to go out if you do it.
Or the other.
And so the disaster prevention kit, as you were saying, it keeps all the medical particles trapped in one area. So if it fails, it doesn't go through the whole system.
Correct.
But you still have a problem. You still got to change the pump. But you just didn't
Grenade
damage
everything. You have the labor and the cost of the pump.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, good.
After leaving A-Rod's shop, we headed north to Leadington to catch the SS Badger to cross Lake Michigan. We spent a few days in Door County, Wisconsin, before making our way to Jay Cook State Park in Duluth, Minnesota.
I've been there. Oh, that's so pretty.
And then checked a few things off our summer to remember list along the way. Before making our trek west to Nebraska to do some tanking.
This is fantastic. Could have come with friends and beer.
So a lot of great travel episodes to look forward to in the coming weeks. But now, with 160 gallons of diesel going through the new DCR pump, Mark can share some more thoughts and the cost on these mods.
We've put 1,700 miles on the truck since we did the CP4 replacement. And so I wanted to share with you some first impressions of that and the air intake pusher. And I wanted to talk about the cost, so you know what to expect there. Then you can hit SS Diesel's website, and then they have a list of technicians that could help you with the repair. Okay, in terms of costs, I think you already saw on a screenshot that I overlaid that the actual kit itself is about $2,000, and A-Rod charged me $1,600 in labor to actually complete the work. The pusher, which we'll talk here in a second, that kit is around, I think, $1,100. It's a little bit more for the color I chose. They actually have a lot of different colors that you can choose from. I chose the bronze, and then A-Rod charged $350 to install that. But I'm going to park over here because I want to chat a little bit about first impressions on the air pusher. Okay, I know you've seen it. Just want to show you again. I will mention when we were in Door County and we were with Sean and Eric, and I showed them these pipes. Sean is like, "That's really sexy," and I agree. I did this because A-Rod recommended it, and we already talked about the advantages of being able to see the valley and better intake. But I will tell you a couple other little things we've noticed now that we've put some miles on the truck. In the turbo now, there's just a very subtle whistle. Now it's only when I'm towing, and it's only when the engine's hot. And at first I thought it was only once, but no, when the engine's hot and we're towing, I get a little bit of a whistle out of the turbo, so I'm not complaining, I like that. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
A little faint little whistle.
Okay,
from the turbo?
Yeah.
Subtle. But I think that's because of the air pusher. Okay, so that's it. This has been a highly requested video. Lots of people have been talking about the CP4 pump for years. I'm glad that we've finally been able to do it. Big peace of mind. Check out A-Rod shop, SS Diesel, pusher for the air intake, and we'll catch you next Sunday on the road.